Morning all. Welcome to what will be the 8 a.m. It's 7:55 at the moment. So we're just in that mode of preparedness for the 8 a.m. Our mobilisation focus of the day. Get the joints moving a bit better. Maximise on range and lots of other good stuff in between. So today, what day is it? It's Monday again. It's the 21st of February 2022. We'll do all that in a few minutes when we do a 3, 2, 1 anyway. But just to start welcoming people in, I've just ate some peanut butter on toast. You know how that makes your mouth, Bex. Morning, good to have you here today, Bex. What you up to? Where are you in the world? And what you got planned? That's all we need to know. Just a little insight, a window into everybody's day. Talking of days, here's Sheila Day. Morning, you. How you doing? Jane Andrews has arrived as well. Morning. Oh, how I've missed this 8 a.m. I think the last round of 8 a.m.s I had, I gave them up. I gave them to Dave. We had a pretty busy week that week and it just figured. So Dave took my 8 a.m.s. Exactly, Bex, a bit claggy. We was just discussing the pros and cons of peanut butter on toast and how it makes your mouth how it makes your mouth feel once you've finished. Got a bit of crunchy bit in here as well somewhere. I'll have to get it in a bit. Right, what are you up to, Dawn? Computering and Zooming today for you then. And lots of circ boost in between, literally crowbarred into your day. Breaking up those times of sitting down. Right, what's that, Sheila? Good morning. We have a collection of the collective meeting together at my house. Not my house, at Sheila's house. Carol, Sheila and Andy all together. Great, the original, the top 3 there of the collective. Bex, that sounds disgusting. Adding a blob of jam to peanut butter. But just no. Just, that's all kinds of wrong, that is. Look how it's making my brow furrow. Right, rain has gone, but it's still windy in Port Talbot. We lost our gas supply last night. Luckily, we'd eaten our Sunday dinner just literally an hour after... just an hour before we lost all, we lost the hot water, we lost the heating, we lost our gas supply basically. But within 4 hours, we'd had 3 visits, technician, engineers, technician, job done, back on. We think there was some water that had gotten into a thing outside. I'm not very technical here, am I? It's not really talking engineer talk here. Right, Margaret Wood's arrived. George Anderson's here. Kids are almost going off to school. Hello, Gillian with a G, and Francis is in from Bristol as well. Morning, morning, morning to you lot. Are we ready to rockin' Robin? Rock like a robin all day long? Morning, Dave. We've almost got the full team in, haven't we? It must be nearly 8 a.m. So unless I get a nudge, I am going to call it any second. Kids are just hanging around. I can see Willow just putting on her shoes there. They're going to come and give you mummy a kiss. No, okay, fine. Sue Tilly's just arrived as well. Okay, I think we're going to get stuck into the first movement snack of the day. And Mrs. Perry's here as well. We can't start without her. Okay, ready. 3, 2, 1. Good after. Oh, I'll have to do that again, won't I? 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Good morning. It's 8 a.m. It's time for our mobilisation and regular circ boosts slotted in between of stuff. I almost said sway and stretch then. Let's get going. You're with me, Kelsey Leverton from Later Life Training, and it's Monday the 21st of February 2022. Well, I didn't do very well on that intro this morning, did I? maybe we'll do a bit better in the movement snack. So most of us choose to wear socks in the morning, as long as your feet feel secure on what you're standing on. That's obviously fine, but do have something more supportive and grippy on if you're on a more wooden or stone tile based floor. External support is useful. Have a few options around you, and for some seated options, a sturdy dining room chair. Lifting tall, let's go for the seated posture prompts first. Lifting tall and hip walking. Take as many hip shifts forwards in the chair as you need to bring yourself onto the front third. Once you're there, just check out your angles. We've got a 90-degree angle at the knee joint, and then we've got some foot pedals added on to the end of that. In standing, not too wide a base, that'll make it more difficult to shift and transfer the weight. So if the legs are more directly under your hips, then we have a bit more ease of movement going into the foot pedals. So just getting the heel to lift as high as it can. Have a little glance down just to see what your feet are up to. See if you can see that crease coming across your toe bones there. And then bring that into a leg march. So a simple, steady pace here. Picking up the knees to about the same height. So we're trying to get that balance through the body and keep on working through ankles, feet and toes. Have a bit of focus around how the feet land down. So it's toes, ball, heel, that roll through the foot. In seated, you can lift yourself up a little bit taller. That's great. Use your hands on the side of the seat to support your upper body. Knees just left and a hair's just blowing all over the place here. If you want to bring in some upper body, this will add to our warm-up. So fix one arm if you want to bring one arm in at a time, or get both arms in at the same time. Now, if you're in standing and you feel a little bit challenged with your balance by letting go of both hands, then keep one hand attached to your support and then swap sides at some point. Now, if your legs need a rest at any point, because sometimes you can get a little bit achiness around the hips in standing or across the front of your hips in seated, you could just rest down and give the top half a little bit of focus on their own. And this wider position of the feet will help with your balance and stability throughout the different moves on our top, our trunk trio as well. Now I'm just going to bring, for the last moment or so, arms back in with legs. We're driving through the elbow here, backwards with the elbow, to get a little bit of a squeeze in the upper back, but also to maximise the movement around our shoulders, which should be warming up quite nicely, and we'll benefit from this when we get to our shoulder lifts and rolls. Steady yourself down, settle your feet. You should feel the need for just a few deeper breaths at the end of a circulation boost, so it shouldn't leave you huffing and puffing, gasping for air at the other end of our 3 minutes. Okay, so let's set ourselves up for our top trio. I'm going to go a little bit wider with feet. You might want to go a little bit of a prop against some fixed surface behind you, or you might stay or come down into seated at any point. Here's the shoulder lifts. So tall body and lifting as high as you can with the shoulders. Now smoothly let them press down. Lifting and pressing. Just take an extra little bit of time with these mobility moves so that you can reach the top end and the bottom end of your range. So I'm going to do about 5. 4 or 5 is a good amount to do. It gets that bit moving, but without adding any tiredness or fatigue into it. Let's progress this onto a shoulder circle, always in an opening, lifting, circular backwards motion. Try not to get the elbows too involved, just let the arms hang and take that through the shoulders, round, back and down. A little bit of a squeeze with the shoulder blades and an extra press down. The last one then, you should feel your jumper trying to rock itself up. And settle them down in a comfortable position. Keep lifting and lengthening through the neck, and we'll progress into our head turns. So if you are prone to feeling that little bit giddy or dizzy during head turns, then take a specific pause in the middle. So turn back to the middle, pause, reorientate yourself, and then over to the other side. Now here as we're moving, there we go. Here as we're moving, the shoulders, the collarbones stay facing forwards. They're not allowed to join this movement through the neck. Now after a couple of those, 2 or 3 of those, you might feel some of the loosening effect coming in. And you might be able to just squeeze that little bit further out of it. Okay, I think I'm going to do one more on each side. Sitting or standing tall throughout, or especially as you come back to the middle point. And there we have your head turns. Of course, we use lots of different head turns, movements with the neck throughout our day. Crossing the road, looking where we're going, finding items that we're reaching for and grasping hold of. Right, neck movements to complete our round of top trio. So the neck movements, lengthen through your neck, press those shoulders down and back. Take your fingertips and use them as a guide to tuck your chin in, or use them just as a bit of a marker. They look like Beaker from the Muppets then. So we're lengthening up, stacking the head, sitting the head high onto the very top vertebrae of your neck. We're tucking away that knobbly bit of vertebrae that tends to jut out a little bit when our head and shoulders are rounded on forwards. We're realigning the spine, improving our posture with the cherry that is on top of our posture. There we go. Okay, second round of circ boost. We're going to be warming through the trunk here. In standing, go a little bit wider, go a bit softer in the knees. Clasp your hands together, and we've got a reach and a row. Straightening out the elbows. Head stays still. Hips stay still. So same in seated here. Just guiding the elbow back into your side. And if you do feel the need to hold on, you could do this actually with your hips against, and then you will have that reference point there. But coming into your support and just moving one hand to the other. You should feel a nice boost of warmth just building in the centre, and we're prepping up our mobility moves for the spine now. We've got a trunk twist, a side bend, and a hey big back extender on the way. Just take a couple more of these and then bring that to a pause. Crowbar in one more shoulder roll, organise the upper body posture. Sink into the knees. Now in standing, your focus is to try and keep the hips still and just let the spine do the movement. You can get your arms out the way. You can use your support. But try not to let the legs twist round and the hips switch round as well. This might not be a very big movement for some of you. And to organise the hips, We could sit on them. This really fixes the hips still. We could try and just make our movements a little bit smaller in standing. Or we could take our feet that little bit wider and get into the knees. So it kind of helps to separate top half out from your bottom base half. And of course this little reference point here as well tells us, gives us the feedback as to whether our hips are moving too. Have a bit of a pause in the middle with all of these trunk movements, and you might want to add an extra glance over your shoulder for a bit of extra head turn movement as well. Is that about it? Side bends then, so let your arms hang, dangle right down by your side. We're going to try and keep our side bend in line with the chair legs in seated. Keep your bum firm and flat on the chair. Find that middle point in your posture here, and then we'll even ourselves out. You're going to feel some pulling, just some slight pulling of muscles at the side of your waist there. In standing, we've got our seam of trousers that we can trace our fingers down and try and keep our top half in line with the legs. Here's the supported option, if you hadn't figured that out already. And it's much easier to have your support directly in front of you as you do these side bends. Feel a bit of a pull along that side. The last couple, we might be able to reach just that tiny bit further. Come back to the middle, tall posture, big space between rib cage and hip cage. I'm going to do one more on the other side and then I think I'm even fives. All right, take a pause there. You might want to just adjust your feet. We're going to go for that back extender move now, which we apply chin tuck, we apply shoulders back and down, which we've set up hopefully already. Get into the knees, try not to thrust or lock out your legs, and just lift. It's like somebody's got you underneath the armpits and it's lifting you up. Feel a bit of length. You might feel some stretch in your tummy muscles there. And keep looking ahead, and then just take a little lift and extend in a tiny backwards direction. If you're not sure about that, then hold on to your external support. Have your base wider, or come into seated, and then we won't need to worry about what our balance is going to throw at us. The head position as well, people, is crucial here. If the chin's tipping up, then our weight is going to feel backwards. So just keeping the chin tuck in place might make you feel that bit more steadier with your balance in this move. Lifting, just getting a bit of an arc in the middle part of your spine here. 4 or 5 of those and a few more crowbarred in throughout the day can be really useful, especially if you've got anything that you do in the day where you sit round shouldery and slumped, or if you're doing a lot of leaning over, washing machine stuff, dishwasher, putting items away, leaning over, ironing, let's say, stuff like that. I don't know why I've come to sit over here. I need to be back over there. We're going to do some ankle, feet and toes now. So foot pedals to start with would be good. So just some foot pedals. Lifting the ankles, pressing through the toes, moving the toe bones. Think about the arch and the shape of your feet as well. Have a few of those, and then maybe have some toe scrunches, lifting and peeling the arch of the foot up and away, out of your shoes or off the floor. These are just going to prepare what we're doing with our heel toe type ankle move action. You might want to do a few toe taps with a bit of a shift and a transfer of weight. You won't need this sitting in the chair. You'll just be able to lift your toes, your ball of your foot off the ground. And then we can do some toe lifts and splays. Lift and splay. Try and get some air in between your toes. Leaving the knuckle of the big toe down. You should feel that pressing into the floor. Okay, you might want to do a few more of whichever one of those felt good for you. Here's your options for ankle mobility. If you want to be in seated with a bit of postural support, hip walk back. Take up a bit of support, and then we've got a lifted foot, pulling back the toes and pointing away. So there is what you can start with. If you want to be in the front portion of the chair or in standing, then your heel toe will look like this. Heel, and then placing the toes lightly onto the same spot. In standing, you'll need a bit of support. We're a bit on the one leg. So toe tap replaced with a heel dig, or the other way around, it doesn't really matter. If you're facing your support, then great. If you're to the side of your support, you might want to have your standing leg nearest to your support. And all of the weight is over this standing leg rather than pressing and digging. Over to the other side to do a few on the other side to even ourselves off. Nice little move to, again, crowbar in. Helps with our walking pattern, helps with our ankle mobility. So when we're walking over different surfaces, when we're walking in general, our walking action can be improved. Less flat-footed, less shuffly, a more specific stride like I'm doing now. Join me if you like, just for a few of these. Okay, that brings us to the bottom end, literally, of our morning movement snack. Hopefully that's prepared your body for whatever you've got to do today.